Chael Sonnen and Gilbert Melendez with us the last time, and now it's happened again. I just, the natural question from the novice, and I think from the experts, and you're the experts, is she done? Does this effectively end her career?
I think so. I think the way she went out twice in a row, I think she's going to hang it up, you know, and very disappointed in how she made no adjustments and no improvements in this fight. You know, I got to give some of the blame to her coaching staff as well. Mm-hmm. I feel like there was no adjustments whatsoever. She got hit once, and it broke her apart, and I don't think she's going to be able to recover from this.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the psychology here is actually a lot of fun. I've seen other athletes do it. Anderson Silva from our sport of MMA did this. When an athlete is on top, they will always talk about, this could be my last one. I could walk away. What they really want is for people to beg them to stay. Oh, we need you. You're the greatest. The sport wants you. Once you go on a losing streak, nobody's begging you to come back. All of a sudden, the athlete becomes a lot more willing to get in there and participate. The athlete starts saying, hey, I want to do this again. So let's see what happens with Ronda. There is a domino effect when she gets beat. When she lost her first fight, they canceled 2 of the movies she was supposed to be in. One of them was a remake of Roadhouse where she was going to portray a bouncer. So she kind of needed to have this allure of this tough person. So when that happened, but you get it. Look, her career is all tied together. I think after 2 losses, I think going away probably is the right thing to do. But historically speaking, the athletes that say they want to leave really just want to be begged to stay.
And it's so hard in any sport. My friend and colleague Mike Tirico would always say this, to get the dismount right. In other words, very few. John Elway, you win a Super Bowl and you leave. It's so hard to do that. Barry Sanders just said, I'll see you later, and never came back. But no one wants to walk away getting mopped not once but twice. So I don't know how, and you guys would know better than I because you've done this, but I don't know how you walk away with the taste of your own blood in your mouth.
Yeah, it's a very good question, but I don't know how you come back from getting defeated twice like that. You know, and again, she went in hiding for like 6 months. She was depressed. I mean, she told the media and expressed how hard it was her just to get back out of the house and be in the public. I don't see how she recovers from this. And again, a lot of fighters do come back, but when you're getting paydays like this, I think, you know, she'll be comfortable staying home and under the radar for a little bit.
And guys, you know what I see as the problem? So let's talk about what you brought up earlier. $3 million is what her guarantee is. So Gil, if she's going to get $3 million, you got to put her in a main event. If she's going to main event coming off of 2 knockout defeats that were devastating, who do you put her with? Who do you put her with to justify that paycheck that you also think could change from her having a 3-fight loss streak? And I don't have the answer to that.
And you'll forgive my ignorance, but and you point out that this is she benefited as this division was forming, correct?
Correct.
She was a star as this was all sort of coming together, and now not once but twice. I think it leads to a question, and jump on me if you disagree. Was this all fraudulent? Was this make-believe? Was who she was a byproduct of what people wished she was as opposed to what she really is?
The media created this sensation. This is a fantastic athlete, 2-time Olympian, brought a medal home for this
but different discipline.
Absolutely. Totally fantastic. What the media had done, and to put her, you know, the greatest athlete of all time and, you know, a once-in-a-lifetime. I'm sitting back looking at her and going, look, in fairness, and again, this is a personal friend, but in fairness, the sport of judo, which she came from, has 0 success in MMA. She is the one and only that's ever succeeded, ever had a title, ever made it to a title fight, ever made it to contention to get into a title fight. It is not an effective art for mixed martial arts. So I'm looking at the skill set, and I'm going, look, this is tough to buy. I'm looking at what the media is saying. I'm going, we've got a real marketing gem here. Let's ride this horse into the ground.
No, I feel like she did beat some solid opponents. And I think
I want to be careful in how I frame this. I'm not saying that it's all make-believe, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure I'm giving proper respect.
No,
but I think it's a legitimate question that you
absolutely.
wonder.
And not at all. You know, and I do think she beat those girls, and she had the mystique, and she had the confidence. But if you go back and she runs those fights back against these girls she's beat, against the girl she is now, the lady she is now, knowing how to beat her, the blueprint is out. I think half the ladies that she beat, Kat Zingano being one of them who charged out right after, would have the same success as Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes had tonight.
Is it a little bit like the Tyson mystique where once you see a guy go down, you realize, oh, wait, that you can take that person out?
That's exactly how I see it. And not only for the fighters that are fighting her, also for the person who just got defeated. You know, I think that's the main thing was she got hit, and it all came back to her. She was the same fighter she was. She had the flashback against Holly Holm, and she completely crumbled out there.
All right, let's bring in Ramona Shelburne, who's in Las Vegas. And Ramona, you've spent plenty of time with Ronda, and you featured her in the ESPN the magazine, and you came on our show, and you talked about how shaken she was, and how she had to come back. She had to right this wrong, and now this. You're there. What was the scene like?
It was stunning. I mean, it felt like you were waiting for her to start fighting. and she got hit, and it was very similar to the home fight where I saw it, I was so close to it, and you saw that first punch hit her. And you know, Scott, you've seen enough fights. Like, when somebody loses, it's how they get back in the octagon and take that first punch. And after she took that first punch, she kept going, but you didn't feel that same ferocity that she used to have. I just felt like I was waiting for her to get going, and Amanda Nunes was not. She attacked her, and it was over before it even started. It almost felt like the other end of a Ronda Rousey fight when she used to win in under a minute. To be honest, I keep thinking back on this conversation I had with Dana White right before the fight. I said, Dana, what do you think? How you feeling? And he goes, I just went back there and saw her. And this was earlier in the night, and he goes, it was like church back there. It was really quiet. And he was like, what's going on in here? Is anybody talking? And apparently that's how they wanted it. But I said, Dana, is that how it normally is when Ronda's getting ready for a fight? And he goes, no, she's usually a little more relaxed. And so I don't know what that means, but it just seems like maybe in some ways when you take something so seriously, there has to be a moment when you do finally relax. And I didn't see it at all.
Ramona, I'm not asking you to tell me what she thinks because you don't know, but again, having spent time with her and focusing so much on what this outcome would mean, what do you sense this outcome means moving forward?
I think it means a lot. I mean, you know, if she wasn't going to fight that many more fights anyway, right? Even if she would have won this fight, I think there was only one, maybe two more fights in her future because she was already kind of to this place where there wasn't much for her to prove. There wasn't much for her to accomplish. She wanted to fight Holly Holm again and right that wrong, but you know, who else is there for her to fight that she wants to prove? And I think, Scott, like, it comes back to when fighters come up, they have this hunger. There's a reason why they're fighting, where you don't have to ask them why they're fighting. And the whole time I was reporting this one and asking her that was the question. Why are you doing this again? Why do you want to fight? And she was searching for answers, and she came up with a pretty good one, which is, I'm fighting for pride and for legacy and for people to show people you can come back from anything. But even asking the question, that tells you sort of where she was in her life.
Ramona Shelburne, Las Vegas. Ramona, thank you. As Gilbert, as we're listening to Ramona say this, you're smiling and you're nodding your head. What was it that struck your ear and you thought, yeah?
Yeah, well, you know, fighters always reach this point. You reach your goals and you figure out what's your why. You know, why am I doing this? You reach all the goals. So what is lighting your fire? Why are you motivated? You made your money. You made your splash on the world. You're doing movies. You know, what's there to gain right here? And of course, she's saying her pride and all this stuff, but it's
$3 million
hard. Exactly, and $3 million. but that's tough to bounce back from. Once she said it was quiet in the dressing room right there. You know, it's obviously she lost some confidence. You know, and when you're confident, you're bouncing around, you're excited to fight, and you believe you're going to beat anyone. And obviously in that room, she was concerned. Her whole corner was concerned, and the lack of confidence, it can be crucial in a fight.
This is a friend. You've made that clear. If you were speaking to Ronda Rousey, what would you tell her?
I would tell her the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Look, she is in the same gym, and a lot of her training is hitting mitts. And I have wondered, well, what did she do differently for this fight? She hit the mitts harder. She hit the mitts in a different fashion. I think that it's time to mix it up. And listen, it's really nice to hear what people say about you. It's really nice to read those things. It's a big problem when you start to believe it. And we bring up the $3 million. Listen, there is an expression, a rich man cannot fight. There is a difference in getting out of bed when you're wearing silk pajamas and doing road work at 5 in the morning and getting up when you need to feed your family and you're willing to run up that hill to get yourself in shape. And that's what we saw with Amanda. We saw someone who's hungry and striving and trying to get there versus somebody that's climbed the mountain so many times and done such a great job. The discipline and the hunger appears to be different.
I want to at least ask a question about Nunes here. Do we learn more tonight about her, or because I feel like what we're saying here is what we really learned is that maybe it ought to be the end for Rousey. What do we learn about the champ?
Yeah, well, we learned there is a blueprint to beat Rousey now, and we learned that Amanda Nunes is a beast out there. She is a savage, and she's proving her point right there, and she's one of the best in the world. You know, though she has lost, and it makes the weight class interesting, and way more women are getting involved in this division, but she is definitely a force to be reckoned with, but there's a lot of talent in that division.
She's so good, man. I don't want to fight that girl. Listen, she comes across the ring. She appears to be as calm as can be. Ronda's great at getting people's heads from the weigh-ins to the press to everything. Amanda had a look of confidence the whole time. Now, so did Ronda. That's what was intriguing about this. But Amanda walked in there and she did what she does. She used her style. She didn't try to copy Holly Holm. She didn't try to take a blueprint from anybody else. She danced with the one that brought her. She went out. She used that jab. She followed up with a cross. She kept just enough distance to keep finding those shots. I was very impressed with what she did, and she is the king of that mountain right now.
The fun thing about sports, whatever sports, is when we spoke earlier about all the things we might talk about, the one thing we didn't talk about is the one thing that happened. The blueprint that exists and the fact that Rousey gets knocked out again. Fellas, appreciate the time, the context, and your level of expertise.
We got nowhere else to be.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
I appreciate you being here. Thank you, boys.
Thank you.